It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast, your 20-minute boost to reclaim and refocus your energy. Get ready to have bursts of clarity, a boost of confidence, and the practical steps you need to make gutsy moves forward. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. You know what you want, so why aren't you going after it? Something is calling you forward, a change that you're hungry to make in your life or in your career, a decision that you are on the edge of committing to, a pause, an ending, or maybe a new beginning. But just as you go to take that next step, your brain kicks in. It tells you all the reasons that you can't, why this isn't going to work out, and it brings up every single fear that you've ever had in your entire life. And yet, here you are, nodding along, knowing that it's time, hungry to know how. This episode is a call out to the woman who has done all of the inner work, but still hesitates. We're going to name and dissect the primary worries that cause your hesitation. And I'm going to teach you how to get past these once and for all. If you're ready to move, I'm ready to help you make it happen. First thing that I want you to know today as we dig into this together is that I'm no stranger to any of these things. I've been in a place of hesitation, of worry, of fear, of second guessing myself, probably way more times than I care to count. And I'm also not perfect at it. See, a lot of the stuff that I teach is like, it can be really skewed to think like, oh, you reach this level and then you never have to deal with it again. When in reality, it's not about never being afraid. It's about knowing how to handle things when you are afraid. It's not about not hesitating or second guessing yourself ever again. It's about having the tools and the courage to be able to move through that. I have been given this purpose in life to help people make the gutsy moves that they've been avoiding. And you can bet your entire ass, and then maybe even somebody else's ass, that I have been put through the rains in the fire of having to make gutsy moves myself. But this is what's helped shape all of this information. That's given it context. I've been in the trenches with you and I still get down in there. But I have figured out how to get out of it. I've figured out how to catch those thoughts, how to shift a funk, and most importantly, how to get the things that you actually truly want. I mean, this podcast wouldn't exist without a gutsy move. I started the show 6.5 years ago at time of recording with a $25 Logitech headset that I bought off of Amazon and GarageBand on my Mac. I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I had no idea how to podcast. Podcasting wasn't even really a big thing at that point. So I think we can safely say that I was podcasting before it was cool. But I had a vision. I had clarity. I had a passion. I had something calling me forward. And the only way to see how that plays out, the only way to get those things is to take action. See, we often want to just jump to the end of the line. I mean, I'm not even a portion of the way into what the Gutsy Podcast can and will be. But where we are today, here as a show, you as a listener has grown leaps and bounds in these 6.5+ years. On day one, no one knew about who I was except the people in my life. And now the Gutsy Podcast is in the top 1.5% of all podcasts in the world. That didn't happen from day one. That happened because of day one. Look, friend, there is something that is calling you forward. You know what that is. You probably don't even need to sit and think about it because you chose to listen to this episode for a reason. Maybe you kind of stumbled. Maybe you were a little bit curious, but chances are there was something that spoke to you that said, hey, we really need this today. And in standard LauraAura fashion, it is going to be a swift kick in the mental ass followed by the best hug you'll ever have. I'm like this because watching you settle keeps me up at night. Watching you deal with things or just be ho-hum in areas of your life, accepting lower standards or just kind of getting by. That shit literally keeps me up at night. It fuels my fire. It fuels my words. And it's the reason that I do what I do. So you're here because you know what you want, but why aren't you going after it? There always seems to be a barrier, doesn't there? Something pops up, you talk yourself out of it, you start to hesitate, you start to question yourself. You maybe even start to take a little bit of action, and then inevitably, that big, beautiful brain of yours kicks in. It reminds you of all the reasons why you can't do this. You start comparing yourself to other people. You start to look around at your life and saying, well, this isn't the right time, and I have to do this first, and I have all these responsibilities, and I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money. And inevitably, you talk yourself out of it before you even really get started. And then what happens? You settle. You go back to what you know because it's familiar. It's easy, not because you love it, not because you want it, but because you know it. And that makes your brain so happy. A part of your brain, I should say, your subconscious brain. See, without getting too sciencey here, I think it's really important to know and understand that your subconscious brain's entire purpose is to keep you safe. And we're talking about safe in the sense of a bear is chasing me. Yes, a little bit, but more in the sense of your subconscious brain knows what's familiar. It knows your past. It stores all of your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, the past actions that you've taken. All of that is stored in your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between yesterday, tomorrow, today, 15 years ago. It believes everything that it knows to be true in this current moment. So when I say that its job is to keep you safe, the safety that it knows is what's familiar. And what's familiar to it is what it knows. The problem is, if all it knows is something negative, something hard, challenging experiences, then it thinks that that is safety, only because that's what it knows. So when you try to branch out, you try to do new things, you try to change something, you're literally challenging your own subconscious mind. Not because it's wrong, not because it's bad, but because it's new. There will almost always be resistance when you go to make a change. And that's true for thoughts, beliefs, habits, actions. I think it's sometimes really comforting to know that hey, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? You're not hesitating and resisting something because you're fundamentally fucked up somewhere. Your brain is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. But our job here, you right now in this moment, is to retrain your brain. Because just as it stores some of the challenging stuff, it also stores all of the amazing stuff. This is where you store new healthy habits. That thing that you started, my face washing routine. I like to tell this story. At one point it was oh, that was annoying. It was one extra thing to do. I didn't feel like doing that every night. It was dumb. And then about mid-30, I was oh shit, I'm actually starting to age and I really need to take care of this shit. So I started a face washing routine at the end of the night, and it was weird and it was uncomfortable and I didn't do it every day and I didn't love it, but I stuck with it. And over time, I realized that I didn't have to think about it as much. It became kind of an autopilot type of thing. And then the coolest part was when I got to the point where it became a non-negotiable. I've now been doing my nightly routine for so long that my body is trained to know that, hey, when I do this nighttime routine, that means that Laura is about to go night-night. And I literally cannot get into my bed without doing this routine. And that's all thanks to, one, me sticking with it, but two, me retraining my subconscious mind. It is storing that habit now so that I don't have to think about it. This is what I mean by it's your job to retrain your brain. You're giving it new information. You're giving it new context. You're building safety within yourself. And ultimately, you're creating familiarity. This is when things get easier. When believing in yourself is easier. Your actions get to be easier. And ultimately, you start having the things that you want instead of wondering about them. So let's dig a little bit deeper into the main worries that tend to cause people to hesitate. And I'm really curious which one or multiple of these resonate with you. So if we're not already connected, I'm on all the social platforms. My handle is @LauraAura. I'd love for you to DM me and tell me which one of these was a blinking freaking red light. Holy crap, that's the one. Now, the first one should come to no surprise. It's fear. I mean, let's just give it the spotlight that it wants, right? Fear is not always a bad thing. Fear gets a pretty bad rap. Fear is there to protect us. Fear is there to give us knowledge. But when it gets squirrely and it gets out of control, fear will stop you. And fear can come in all shapes and sizes. Making a change, being new at something, starting over, the fear of failure, the fear of success, looking stupid in front of people. Fear is a little bit like a chameleon, and everyone's fears are a little bit different. They're very unique to you. But if we want to root this back down into the actual cause, it's your subconscious. Remember, when you go to make a change, when you're doing something different, you are challenging what your brain already knows. You're walking into unknown territory. And I often find that the antidote to fear is movement. Fear often lives in the standstill, in the quiet corners of your mind. When you're sitting, you're thinking, you're pondering, you're really just like, it's like a fucking hamster wheel in your brain with feeding all of this stuff in that you can't, and this isn't going to work, and everything's going to fall apart. You're stuck, like literally physically stuck. I don't know many people that have fear actively running in their mind that are moving. Fear is usually the thing that causes you to stop moving. So when fear pops up, one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to move. Yes, sometimes taking action, doing something, but also sometimes just moving your body. Fear has a very dense energy, and we've got to be able to move that shit through and out of your body. So something simple as a walk, putting on your favorite playlist and dancing for 10 minutes, going to the gym, getting out of Skip It. Do you remember Skip It? Listen, I was a master at fucking Skip It. We used to hold, I used to hold these championship challenges in the neighborhood that I grew up in for Skip It. I need to get another one of those. When you're feeling fear, the best thing you can do for yourself is to move. Now we're no longer feeding the fear. We are feeding the possibility. The second primary thing that I hear and see is visibility. Why aren't you going after something? Because you're going to be seen. And people will run from being seen, especially if you have been in the dark for a while. This is often triggering worries like being accepted, negative comments. You think about putting stuff online if you're wanting to make videos or content or put yourself out there, blogging, writing, singing, dancing. Oh my gosh, the fear of people's thoughts and opinions about you when you're seen. There's a worry of rejection. Are people going to like me? Are people going to want to see me as I am? Am I going to be made fun of? Am I going to be accepted for my differences? The route to visibility is acceptance. It may not be that you're worried about being seen. It's about the worry of being accepted. And I know how big and deep, honestly, that this can feel. I mean, we are trained as humans to work in tribes, to work in community. And being on an island out on your own feels really unsafe and very uncomfortable. But here's the antidote that I have found to this one. It's self-acceptance. When you're always worried about other people accepting you, you unintentionally go into a place of self-abandonment. This is when we start being like everyone else and doing what everyone else tells us to do and avoiding ourselves and not listening and trusting ourselves. The real work here is self-acceptance. Because when I see and accept myself as I am fully in its entirety, I don't need the validation of others to survive. And the really, really, really cool part with this is you naturally attract the right people in your world when you fully accept yourself. You're never truly alone when you've got you, okay? Now, the third one kind of riffs off the last one here, and that is self-trust. Guaranteed, hands down, if I make content about trusting yourself or not trusting yourself or how to trust yourself, that is the content that always, always, always pops off. And why? Because people aren't trained to trust themselves. They're taught to go outside of themselves for validation. It puts us back in this survival mode. So why aren't you going after it? Friend, you probably don't fucking trust yourself. not believing in yourself or your abilities, your ability to figure things out, ignoring your own intuition, the cues that your body is giving you, the green lights, the red lights, the ones that are saying, don't do that. And you're like, I'm going to do it anyway. And then you find out the hard way. Always seeking validation, getting opinions from other people, asking 50 people what their opinion is, and then forgetting what your own is. The core of self-trust is self-belief. Believing in your potential, believing in what your body is communicating with you, believing in your ability to figure things out. I mean, if you look back at your history, is it perfect? No, but whose is? I've never met them. Looking back at all the things that you have figured out in the past, I mean, you wouldn't be where you are right now without some form of self-belief along the way. The antidote to self-trust is listening. Being still long enough to even hear yourself. There's a challenge in its own, right? Being willing to pause, check in with your body. What am I sensing? Where am I being pulled? Where am I pulling back from? Friend, when you get to know your body, its cues and its signals and how it's communicating with you, if you can distinguish in your body what is a hell yes and what is an absolute no, that information alone can take you fucking miles. And not to mention simplify the shiznit out of so much of your life. And also prevent you from going the roundabout long ass way that you have to backpedal through. Just saying. Self-trust, I cannot say loud and proud enough, is the fuel that's either going to ignite the reason you do something or it's going to ignite the reason that you don't. Believing in yourself makes everything so much easier. Now, the fourth one, I know you can relate to this. I think this is fairly universal. And it's the fear and worry about others. The worry of letting somebody down. The worry of rejection. Upsetting somebody. Letting go of responsibility. Oh, we could dig into that one. And we could pair that one up with also not being needed anymore. We make so many decisions based off of how it's going to affect someone else. Now, yes, when you have loved ones and people that rely on you and roles and responsibilities, I'm not saying be all willy-nilly out here not giving two shits about anybody. I think you know that. What I am saying, though, is we can't continue to let what everyone else wants us to do dictate what you actually want to do. Sometimes your role or responsibility in somebody's life needs to evolve. Maybe sometimes we have to leave someone in a position where they don't understand our decision, and that's okay because that's theirs. It's not yours. Sometimes you're going to make a decision or take an action that somebody in your life, someone that you love deeply, doesn't agree with. But last time I checked, this is your life and they have their own. See, the root to the worry about others is proving your worth to them. Being needed, being accepted, making everyone happy. This is the category where people pleasing comes into play. Reminder, you are not a massage chair at the mall. Your primary purpose in life is not to please other people. It's actually to please yourself and then amplify that to impact the people in your life in a positive way. And if they don't get it and they're not on board, then you can't stop living because of it. Now, I know I said there were 4, but I have to throw in a 5th, okay? We're going to call this an honorable mention. And this thing, gosh, so freaking relatable. It's the worry around not doing it right. This is the fundamental worry of making the wrong decision, choosing the wrong next thing, having to backpedal, having to fix things, messing something up. This alone will stop you in your tracks. And the root of it, yep, you guessed it, it's perfection. The need to have it all figured out, the need for everything to be in order, the need to have to know the right next thing every single step of the way. You're controlling the situation so much that you're suffocating it. What happens when you suffocate a fire? When you got a fire pit going on outside? Smoke. Guess what perfection is? It's smoke. The antidote to this is taking messy action. It's knowing that, you know what, I don't have it all figured out. I don't know every step of the way, but I know what I want and the direction I'm headed in, and I'm willing to take one next step towards that to figure it out. It's a reminder that, you know what, if something does get messed up, if something does go wrong, it doesn't mean that you made the wrong decision. It means that you needed to go on that quest to gather information, to meet somebody, to have more tools in your toolkit to continue on this path. So if you think about it from that perspective, can you ever really make a wrong decision? Look, I have made decisions that look like a big fat WRONG, wrong. But they ultimately ended up being some of my greatest teaching moments, the things where I learned the most, the places that I grew the most as a person. So is that really so wrong? I mean, would I've rather it go so much smoother and easier? For sure. But we're human, and sometimes that's how we have to gain the info that we need. The antidote to this is taking messy action, moving forward. We're pairing that with the fear earlier about moving. We've got to move our body. We've got to take an action. This will inevitably unfold more information and clarity that we need as we go. It creates the momentum that you are freaking craving. Now, I've given you some nuggets, but there are 4 primary things you can boil all of that down to. I'm going to share those with you here in a minute, but first I want you to know that I'm so fired up about this, if you can't tell. I've realized that my life's purpose through my career is to help women trust themselves and to make the gutsy moves that they've been avoiding. I want to help you do this very thing. So, June 23rd through the 27th, I'm hosting a Gutsy Moves Challenge. This is a 5-day group activation to stop hesitating, start moving, and start creating a life that actually feels like yours. So whether there's something new that you've been itching to start or something old that has been absolutely haunting you to finish, this challenge is your moment to finally do it. Registration is open and spaces are limited. So grab your space in the challenge by going to LauraAura.com/move. Because my friend, it is finally time to do the thing that you've been putting off so you can stop wondering what if and start living it instead. Today, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of the how that we're going to go further into during that challenge. Now, remember, this is not a shortcut. They call it the work for a reason. You are literally retraining your brain from what it has believed and what it has known for so long. I gave you a bunch of antidotes, right? I gave you a bunch of ways that you can start to make moves. But what it boils down to is first, getting really clear about what it is that you want. Then shifting that mind junk, catching and shifting those thoughts in the moment so they stopping you in your tracks. Trusting yourself, trusting in your ability and your knowledge, trusting and understanding and listening to your body and what it is saying to you. And lastly, taking one next step, making the messy action. You don't have to do all the things today in order to achieve it. You don't have to have it all figured out in order to move forward. You truly can have what you want. You've just got to be willing to make the gutsy move to get it. So, consider this your call forward. You know what you want, and we don't have to hesitate on it anymore. In fact, we can get it done together. I hope to see you in the Gutsy Moves Challenge. Again, go to LauraAura.com/move, or you can scroll down in the show notes and click on the link there too. Remember, this isn't about doing more. It's about doing the thing that matters most. Share this episode with a friend that you know could use a little fire lit underneath their ass. And my friend, until I see you inside that challenge, stay focused, stay open, and most importantly, stay gutsy.